Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Prime Time Newscast in the English language on Canal International. I'm called Maureen. It's exactly 6:15, and we take you around the globe with updates on major information and top stories. Jean-Georges Molium, the father of late Erica Finia Molium, the 22-year-old student who died following an accident involving a car belonging to Cameroonian rapper Tenor, has vowed to continue to press for justice to take his course. In a press briefing today in Douala, he says no justice, no posthumous rights for his daughter. And persons accused of the massacre at the Mother Francisca International Bilingual Academy in Fiango, Kumba on October 24, 2020 have been sentenced to death by firing squads. And some female activists today staged a sit-in strike. These women's empowerment and families to put an end to gender-based violence said to be on the rise in Cameroon. As classes resume for another academic year, some chiefs in Lebialem and Bafanji, a village, are advocating for back to school. Those were major stories. Details right ahead. Good evening once more. Since the death of her daughter Erica Finia Molium, George Molium is going through legal rights or battles for justice to take his course in a press conference in the city of Douala. George Funium says no justice, no posthumous rights for his daughter. Kejan Henry Atembe sat through the conference. His story.
The father of Finia Molium, Erica, who died in a car accident on July 15, 2021 in Douala on board a car with rap star Tenor, says he wants the truth on the real cause of the death of his daughter. Facing the press on September 8, 2021 in Douala, flanked by lead counsel for the family, Jean-Georges Molium says he would only perform posthumous rites after the court must have established the truth on the real cause of Erica's death. Counsel to the family, Barrister Serge Kemfak, regrets that the post-mortem report presented to the family by Lakentini Hospital on the cause of Erica's death did not contain enough forensic evidence on the real picture of what happened. According to Erica's father, no miracle will bring back his daughter to life, saying his crusade is for such a misfortune not to befall other school-going children. Though Tenor has pleaded guilty and will reappear in court for an adjourned hearing on September 13, 2021, Erica's father claims Tenor's family has never showed any remorse. He says he had expected Tenor and his parents to have immediately rushed to him and apologize for what happened, knowing that it was an involuntary homicide. Canal International got in contact with Tenor's family for verification of some of the declarations from Erica's father. Unfortunately, Tenor's family refused to make any statement, saying they can't comment when the hearing is on.
Female activists want justice for young Linda Lincoln and others who die and continue to die from human weaknesses, accused falsely in a sex tape scandal, abandoned to die and pushed to an early grave. The sitting strike in front of the Ministry of Women's Empowerment and the Family this Tuesday in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, was for an end of this wave of gender-based violence having a grip on society today. The details with Beatrice Ngamu.
This graduate from INGSE in Yaoundé saw a bright future ahead of her until the sex tape on the social media. All attempt to free herself from cyber harassment only ignited insults. Denial, stress, and abandoned by family, friends, and the media, Mirabel died.
Mirabel died because of human wickedness. And what we are waiting for is justice. Justice because it will help the other victims to know that there is a way to find justice.
What prompted a spontaneous but impactful sitting by two female activists in front of the Ministry of Women's Empowerment and Family Promotion, claiming more justice and protection of young girls and women victims of gender-based violence. 4 cases they have registered in just 1 week.
By this action, we were hoping that she will see that there is a need of a regulation of the law to more protect women who are victims of violence so much in our society, to see how to make a law to protect more women who are victims of violence, and to make them feel that they are not alone, and their pains are understood by her.
As the question, are women to pay the price for things they are ignorant of, and what justice?
To express the fact that it's not to the women to pay about the political division who are existing between, some parties. Women should be protected even in this political space. We are very shocked by the death of Mirabel, because we think she is the victims of the system.
Violence against women is taking a more devastating face nowadays, worsening with publications on the social media, leaving deep emotional torture, depression, and even the death of innocent victims.
People accused of massacre of the Mother Francisca International Bilingual Academy in Fiango Kumba on October 24 or 2020 have been sentenced to death by a firing squad. The verdict was passed on September 7 by Judge of the Boya Military Court. They were charged with acts of terrorism, hostility against the fatherland, secession, insurrection, murder, and illegal possession of firearms and ammunition. We caught up with a barrister, Tanfo Richard, who has been following up the case. Let's take a listen.
Yes, my reaction to the verdict of the Kumba massacre is naturally is like a shock. But you know, the law is hard, but it is the law. So it's true, I was not the principal counsel in the file, but I was in court yesterday when the verdict was being delivered. So I received it also as a storm, like any other person, and it is shocking, but that's the law. So if the judge who renders that decision, if he was comforted by the evidence that were produced before him and the law and his conscience before arriving at that decision, then we only have to accept the decision. And if you think that decision was too hard, as a lawyer, you can only take an appeal towards that decision. And I think probably that's what the lawyer in the case will be able to do. But if you don't do it, the decision will become final and it's going to be executed. So it's a shock. It's frustrating, but we should not also forget that when you remember the gruesome murder of those kids in Kumba who only went to school to study, you attempted to believe that is however proportionate that the court should be able to hit hard.
Thousands of nursery, primary, secondary, and high school pupils and students yesterday took part or kick-started the new school year in the northwest region of Cameroon. This is a sharp contrast to September 6 date set by both ministries. The difference is due to the observation of the long-standing Monday ghost town in most parts of the northwest region of Cameroon, as we hear in the following story. After a limping start of the 2021-2022 academic year on Monday, September 6, due to the long-standing ghost town phenomenon, this Tuesday, September 7, recorded an encouraging beginning of the new school year in the Northwest region. from primary to secondary, high school, there has been an exponential increase in the number of pupils and students on this unofficial opening day of schools in most parts of the Northwest region.
The introductory part, which was the concept of the cell, where we were saying that the cell is the basic structural and functional unit of an organism. That means the cell is what forms, that's the initiation, where an organism begins from. And
after going round a cross-section of educational institutions in Bamenda, Governor Adovlili Lafrique has encouraged reluctant parents to join the already moving educational train.
I want to reassure them that the head of state has instructed and taken necessary measures to ease the smooth conduct of the school year in the Northwest region. There are some difficulties. We cannot prevent us.
Be it in government, Roman Catholic, Baptist, or private primary or secondary education, there has been an exponential turnout. Another school a year achieves the chief of Bafanji in the northwest region of Cameroon and two others in Lebialem in the southwest region of Cameroon are all advocating for back to school. They have all abandoned their palaces in fear of their lives as the crisis keeps generating, as we get the following story. They are chiefs who now live far away from their palaces as a result of the degenerating crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. One of them is a chief of Ayom village and the other is a chief of Wabane village, all in Lebialem division, southwest region of Cameroon.
I'm out now for more than 2 years. So I always send information to the village and they give me feedback. The security situation is a bit reduced.
The chief of Bafanji village recounts his ordeal.
The security situation is not the best. Schools have not been going on in Bafanji for a long time now. We are waiting. We are sensitizing them.
My second in command who are at home. So as I'm here, going back to school is at hand. So I've given instructions since the military is there.
The chiefs are advocating for back to school.
Well, I've been telling the population to make sure that those who have already sent their children out of the village, they should bring their children back so that our school should continue as it was.
I am educated because I went to school. If children cannot go to school, they won't be educated. So our plea is that the forces that be should make everything possible.
They are calling on the population to be courageous in resisting threats and intimidations from separatist fighters.
I have arranged for vigilante groups which will give the military information.
It should be noted, Lebialem remains one of the heat zones of the crisis in the southwest region. Most of the palaces have been taken over by armed groups who claim absolute control over the division. Some traders of the main market in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, have turned to embrace a nearby cemetery as the only optional spot to do their business. And mystic beliefs around the dirt in cemetery, traders say, does not disturb them at all, as we hear in the story with Hyacinth Cha.
They appear very comfortable carrying out their businesses here at the Saint Therese Cemetery, few meters from the main market. According to the vendors, their struggle to grab a place in the main market yielded no fruits, reason why this became the only alternative.
Now only the place where they don't give it a main market. Now only the place no see the market. Long go for share put carry bring for here. C'est même c'est là on va commencer par la cimetière.
It is not easy to have a place in the market. When you struggle to locate a free space, those already in the market do not accept that you establish beside them. They dismiss the notion of usual fear of ghosts and other uncertainties in and around such areas. To them, it is an area like any other. Myself, I'm a cemetery because tomorrow I will die. Even now, my mother or brother can fall and die, and I won't abandon them because they are dead. So the cemetery does not disturb me in any way. As proof of this cohabitation, the sellers regularly clean up the tombs beside their trading post. Some men and women of this cemetery market rather see the site as that which rendered them more spiritually powerful and provides abundant blessings. We are rather obtaining power and blessings from here. At every moment, we tidy up. We pray regularly. So to me, the area is more of a blessing to us. Buyers on their side say the market serves them from the stress of getting into the highly saturated A2D market.
In just 1 year, a non-governmental organization, Salvation Medic Rescue Unit for Africa, screened more than 1,000 women in Douala with the aim of saving them from cervical cancer. The response in the free screening exercise in neighborhoods in Cameroon's economic city Douala has been positive. During the 1-year anniversary, Dr. Pijanalo disclosed that they will go to the 10 regions of Cameroon to screen more women, as we hear in the following story. For the past 1 year, Dr. Simon Puchilano and his team of health personnel have been crisscrossing major neighborhoods in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala, to save thousands of women from dying of cervical cancer.
They responded because I think they have not had so much of this kind of opportunities. We were in Bonamusa before. We used to go out and we screen 50, 60 people. But when the last screening we did at Non-Glacier, we screened over 400 people, 400 men and women against all these silent, deadly diseases.
His balance sheet is positive 1 year after implanting Salvation Medic Rescue Mission for Africa, with a mission to meet the medical, spiritual, and other essential needs of the poorest communities in Africa. Women, though, are vulnerable to all forms of cancer. Their ignorance and late screening remains a disturbing factor. Conscious of the fear factor in women, this old woman tells women to brave up and challenge cervical cancer by going for free screening.
Every 10 women we screen against cancer of the cervix, we see 1 or 2 that has pre-invasive cancer or has invasive cancer of the cervix.
The medic says a complete treatment of cancer is possible only if it is detected early enough.
But those that believe come and then they realize that we screen them completely free without them paying a dime. They go back to the quarters.
Through continuous sensitization and education of women as well as men, Dr. Simon Petrilano is determined to storm all neighborhoods in Douala, especially suburbs, to screen women of all forms of cancer, especially cervical cancer. And that report brings us to the end of this edition of Newscast on Canal International. Thanks so much for watching. Coming up next is The Brief with Buba Ngomna. Tomorrow is another day.